This video is part of a multi-part series, and I recommend that you watch part 1, 2, and 3, which will be linked in the description below before you watch this edition. Darth Vader has finally learned of a solid location of where his old master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, can be found. After his son, Luke Skywalker, informed him of an old hermit named Ben Kenobi was there, Vader knew it could be no other person. He has dispatched his Star Destroyer over the planet of Tatooine and has shut down the space in and around the desert world. Luckily, Leia, who had just met with Kenobi moments before, was able to escape. Aboard the Super Star Destroyer, Vader made way for his shuttle and prepared to set foot on his home world. He looked towards the idea of finally getting revenge on the man that led him to be the machine he is now. Vader brought a squad of elite stormtroopers with him, one of whom was Luke. They boarded the shuttle, and the trip down was silent. All one could hear was the breathing of Vader, who sat in a section separate from the other troopers. Vader's shuttle landed in one of the open spaceports in Mos Eisley. The streets had been cleared by the troops who had already landed. The once bustling Mos Eisley was almost made a ghost town, with only stormtroopers and other Imperial personnel patrolling the streets. Troopers were seen entering homes in search of Kenobi, but Vader could sense him. Vader knew Kenobi wasn't here. He could feel his presence elsewhere. He knew where to find Kenobi, in the mountains, towards the Dune Sea. He approached the lieutenant that he had communicated earlier with over the comms. He gave him orders regarding rebels, but left Kenobi to himself.
Lieutenant, take your men and focus on the rebel troops that may have left behind. Kenobi isn't here, but I know where he will be.
Vader took his men to the mountainous region of Tatooine. They came across the same hut that Leia had just left. Kenobi stepped from the hut wielding his inactivated lightsaber. He approached Vader, who was being flanked by the squad of stormtroopers. Vader told his soldiers to stop while he approached Kenobi. Vader then activated his saber, and Kenobi soon after. Luke stood still along with the other troopers as they watched a standoff with almost 20 years of build-up behind it. Vader spoke the same lines that he said when he faced Kenobi in A New Hope, only this time the fight between Kenobi and Vader was much slower due to how much Kenobi had aged due to an extra year under the Tatooine sun. Vader had disabled Kenobi, but left him barely alive. He was about to land the final blow, but stopped. He turned and called Luke over. He ordered Luke to fire upon Kenobi, simply saying,
"Kill him."
Kenobi looked up at the trooper and sensed something familiar about him. He then realized who was behind the mask. "Luke, I am sorry." Luke paused for a moment, then looked back at his father. Vader just stood still as Luke fired his blaster, killing Obi-Wan Kenobi. As his body fell to the ground, Vader watched as it faded away. He then activated his saber again, this time turning to the stormtroopers that he brought with him. He slaughtered them, almost as quickly as a second. He turned to Luke and explained what would happen next.
"You have completed your first test, my son. Kenobi was just the first step to ruling the galaxy as father and son. Now your training will begin."
Luke was puzzled as to why he had just slain his troopers. Vader made note that these troopers, along with Luke Skywalker, were all killed by Kenobi during the hunt for him, making Luke understand that this was a cover so Vader could begin his training, for Vader's master, the Emperor, could not know of this relationship. Across the galaxy, aboard her transport headed back for Hoth, Leia felt her heart sink. Her short encounter with Kenobi was enough to establish a connection with the old Jedi. She could sense that the life had been taken away from him. She remembered what Kenobi had told her. Dagobah, she must go to Dagobah. She awaited for her transport to arrive back at the base on Hoth. Then she would take a personal fighter to the planet in search of Yoda. Back on Tatooine, Vader and Luke, who had removed his stormtrooper armor, boarded his shuttle to return to the Star Destroyer. Vader told Luke what the next step of his training was.
"The Emperor must not know of your existence. He must not know you are my son. If he does, he will attempt to destroy us both. You will go to my castle on Mustafar. There you will wait for my arrival."
Luke agreed, only nodding his head in approval. He understood now that nothing was going to stop him and his father from ruling the galaxy. This was part 4 of the What If Luke Skywalker Joined the Imperial Academy series, and I'm glad that those who have watched it have enjoyed the series thus far. If you haven't seen part 1, 2, or 3, they'll be linked in the description below. And be sure to leave a like and share the video if you enjoyed it. Also, stay tuned because part 5 of the series will be uploaded soon. Until the next time,
may the force of others be with you.